Okay, welcome back to the Makerspace. I'm John, and now we're picking back up where we just left off. That last video took a little bit longer than expected. I can't believe I spent 20 minutes basically just putting two wires together, but I talked a lot, so I guess that's why. And that leads me to something that I've just realized. I've made a bit of a mistake. Not a big mistake. Very, very small mistake. A very easily remedied mistake. And but that also reminds me of something that someone asked me recently when I was explaining that I take these videos and then I put everything basically in here, right, from start to finish. And they asked me, aren't you a little bit worried that you're going to have all your mistakes in there? And I thought, well, no, that's basically the point, that people can see from start to finish. They see my mistakes and they know what not to do, what to be careful of. And that's kind of the whole purpose, the whole method of learning something is to hopefully learn from other people's mistakes and not make them yourself, but also to learn from your own mistakes. And so I try to learn from my own mistakes, but I have certainly just made a mistake that I have previously learned from, I think, but it's not terrible because it's very easily remedied. What I forgot to do is I forgot to put my heat shrink for the overall tube on before soldering these things together and heat shrinking them. So, but that's okay because I have all this wire here that's not actually connected to anything yet, and all I have to really do is just slide it over the end and slide it all the way down the wire, all 5 meters, and then it's where we need it to be. And I already turned off my hot air, so we'll just turn that on real quick. And here we go. Maybe you couldn't see that at the beginning, but here we go. We're gonna slide this on. It's faster if I don't have it all under the camera. And there we are. Now we are to where we need to be. Alright, let's get this heat shrink on. Alright, that's looking okay. We will shrink that down right there where it is. And while I didn't do like the NASA approved twisting of the wires and getting to loop back around themselves and everything, there's a nice big fat chunk of solder on both of these wires. I think it's going to be fine. This is just a vacuum cleaner in a makerspace. If there's a problem, we take it apart and we fix it. We don't have to make everything foolproof, because we're not fools. But sometimes we do foolish things, like not putting our heat shrink on when we should. But that's okay. Let's turn up our airflow a little bit, because that's going slow. There we go. There we go. Now we're shrinking with style. You really kind of have to go all the way around, make sure that it shrinks from every angle. And if you don't, you're probably still going to end up with something that's insulated, but it's not going to be tight all the way around, and it might slide. I prefer to just kind of hit it from every side. If you can perhaps see what's happening here, the bubbles of air under the heat shrink are moving around as I'm shrinking down from every angle. It really does help to make everything a little bit stronger. And this stuff is supposed to shrink, I think, at like 125 or 150 degrees or something, but if it's higher, that's fine. Just don't hold it in any one spot for too long. You can see when it kind of is at its maximum shrinkage, and then you just move it. from what I understand, the way the heat shrink works is that it shrinks radially by also slightly contracting lengthwise. And usually you won't see that lengthwise contraction simply because it hits like a maximum radial shrinkage and then it just stops. But if you were to take a piece of heat shrink just on its own and shrink it down, you'll see it will actually shrink down a bit. So I think there's a way of possibly unshrinking heat shrink by putting it over something that is expandable, heating it up, and then it would allow the expansion. And if you don't have that pressure on it, expanding it, then it just tends to shrink down. But I think if you were to put it over something and heat it up, you could probably get it to re-expand. But I haven't had a real good reason to do that yet, but I think it would work if you were to try. Alright, I think that's fine. And our hot air is now sufficiently cool I can turn down the airflow on that. Okay, so I think it's time to start putting this thing back together. Now what we're going to want to do is we want to probably figure out exactly how our retraction unit works. I'm pretty sure that you want it to be loose when it's completely pulled out, and then no, that can't be right. You want it to be wound up when it's completely pulled out, right? That way, when you press the button and it releases, it will retract it. So let's wind it up basically as much as we can. I'm guessing because we don't have the cover on here, it's trying to unwind, which is okay. Get our cord untangled and everything a little bit later. Just try to keep it a little bit untangled as we go. Alright, a few more of these, and we're probably okay, I guess. Although I suppose if we slightly overdo it, all that would happen is that it would just have a nice strong grip on the wire as it tries to pull back in. Now, I'm a little bit worried that we're gonna have the end of this wire kind of poking out of the hole in like our soldered area. That doesn't make me super happy. So what I might do, often you see like the yellow and the red tape on the wire, like when it approaches its end, so you shouldn't pull it anymore. Maybe I'll do something like that, and I'll stick some tape on here to kind of indicate that, hey, you're getting close to the danger zone, and then hopefully we'll not pull it out anymore. But it is heat shrunk, and it's well soldered, so maybe it'll be okay. But it's probably going to happen. There's not much we can do about that, I'm afraid. Alright, I'm thinking that's pretty much, yeah, we're reaching the end of our ability to wind this back up. So, alright, let's stop here because I feel like it's going to start slipping. And let's try to get this thing back together. The wheel, wait, not the wheel. There's a housing that goes over this first, I believe. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, these go through here. This wire needs to go, I'm not sure if you can see this because so very little space. This wire needs to go through this hole. wire is a little bit twisted from all that spinning we just did. Let's see if we can undo it. So off camera, I'm just kind of shaking the wire around. I got enough space here that nobody's getting injured. Oh, Fumi's gonna help. Grab that twist. Yeah. Yeah, like this way. It's twisted up, so you gotta. Okay, but you can let go now, maybe, and it'll be okay. Chotto, hanashite. Okay. Okay. Maybe daijoubu. Arigato. All right, let's get this through here. All right. So we've run this through our space. I'm still holding the wheel on top of the wheel as I'm running the cable through. Alright. Now let's do our best to keep holding that. And what we need to do now is get our buttons back through. You probably can't see that, and I'm sorry. Let's see if I can spin it around. Does that help? Can you see that alright? Maybe. Get that back through there. Get this. Put it back down. I'm going to get it quick if I can, because I don't want it to move around inside. No. Something's not quite lining up. Got Captain Tape coming off of my fingers. Well, we're real close. We're basically there. What's missing? Am I missing something? I guess it just needs a little bit of persuasion. No, persuasion's not working. What's our problem? It's real close. It's real close. Can I even get it back off? Took it off once, right? It should come back off again, but it's giving me trouble. Alright, let's try a little bit more persuasion. Oh, it's really close. It's really, really close. What's going on? What's wrong here? It's not turning freely. If I pull on the cable, it doesn't pull so freely. Press the button, nothing happens. Oh, it automatically pulls in. I don't even have to press the button, so I feel like the button is already being pressed. So let's make sure we got our button in the right spot. We press our button. What was that? I just had a screw that was stuck in the screw hole. All right, let's see what's going on here. Why is that sucking in already? Why is the button not doing its job? Something's wrong. Our button's not working. All right. Can you see any of this? I don't know. Our button's not working, right? So, what we need to do, pull this all apart. We'll hold it as it is. Take this thing off. Figure out what's going on with our button. Why is our button not holding? Aha! I know why the button's not holding. Because I'm forgetting parts. Of course. Good lord. Try not to forget parts. Forgetting parts is the worst. Okay, what we need. I took some stuff out of here, right? Like this, for example. This brake. This brake goes... Did it go here? Or did it go on the other side? I think it went on the other side. Oh, it did go on the other side, and I already put down this little lever. So, the button. So let's take this button off of here, if possible. Carefully Okay, good. And this thing went in which side? Looks like maybe it's the same on both sides, but is that a good side for it? No, it's not. I think maybe it's this side. Yeah, that's the side. Okay, that's the side we want. Really? Is that the side we want? I think that's the side we want. Oh, let's try it out. Let's see. Oh wait, I didn't put our button back in there. Wow, this is terribly annoying. But okay. Ah, that's definitely the side because look, there's a hole right there for it. Okay, so don't forget to put your little brake in there, which causes everything to properly stop when it's supposed to. Oh, you know what I just did? I didn't get my brake in the hole properly. Oh, good grief. Almost there. Alright, there we go. Let's get our brake in the hole. There we go. Now we're talking. Yes, that's perfect. Alright, flip that back over. Get our brake button lined back up. Alright, now we're in business. And we're still good on time. Video's not too long. Get our buttons back in. Well, ouch. Okay, we're almost there. This is a matter of convincing it. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, let's find my screwdriver. I think I was just using this one, right? Because it's got the security bit on there. So, okay. Let's put that back down there. Alright. That's tight, but not too tight. But I didn't lose my bit. There we go. And this one over here. So, when you're dealing with screws in plastic, I don't know for sure if I've ever said this before, but it's definitely worth saying. If you tighten a screw into plastic too much, you will completely destroy your ability to screw that thing back in. I learned this with my Xbox, the original Xbox, not the Xbox One, but the first version of the Xbox. By taking that thing apart so many times and putting it back together, that I eventually just completely destroyed all of the screw holes, and the screws would no longer go back in and grab. Okay, maybe it's just me. It seems like this thing doesn't pull in very well. You know, it certainly doesn't hold much wire. This is exactly the same width of wire as before, so I have a hard time believing that this cable is only like 2 meters long, but it might be. 2 meters is about 6 feet. 6 foot cable on a vacuum cleaner seems a little bit short. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I should unscrew that real quick and have one more quick look. I hate that this video is going to end up taking so long. I figured for sure this is going to be the last one, since we're basically just reassembling, but better safe than sorry. Let's quickly have a look. And, oh, good grief. Okay, that is, I'm losing screws now. It's kind of looking alright, although it seems like you could definitely fit more cable in there. And so what I'm thinking is that it has not been properly wound we need to wind it a bit more. So let's do that. Let's get our wires properly unwound as we do it. This thing really should wind up some more. Okay, yeah, I think we lost a few rotations perhaps, and especially on those last rotations where it's really the thickest. That's where you're going to lose a whole lot of winding distance. So we'll hold this down. I wonder if there was like a method that they have, that they employ, that would hold the spool as they try to get this outer case back on there, because that is basically where our spooling comes undone, is while we're trying to wind this thing. Oh, the wire's all twisted up. Alright, that's better. Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. Let's see if we can get a bit more. Alright, so I'm supposed to have to move that around, but our wire's getting twisted rather well, so. Okay, that's really is starting to seem like it's maximum. And so what I'm going to do is just loop the cord there a little bit. Try to get things back on. Alright, real close. Alright, that looks good. And we have our wire barely poking out there. Uh-oh, but our button is doing nothing. I wonder if perhaps it's wound too tightly now. Seems like it. Let's take this back off. Oh, good grief. What a pain. Oh, this is ridiculous. It really is. Did I have it in the wrong spot? Was I not pressing the button? I think I wasn't pressing the button. Alright, let's try again. Well, I mean, I was pressing the button, but I think the button wasn't being depressed, if that makes sense. I think somehow it had slipped to the side. Alright, there we go. And if we press the button, does it pull back in? Not really. What if we give it a little bit of space to work with there? Come on now. Oh, this is terrible. You gotta feed it. Well, with older vacuum cleaners, you typically have to feed it anyway, right? Maybe because of all the twisting or something. Oh, that's terrible. It doesn't pull it in at all. Is it not tight enough? Is it too tight? It might be too tight. I think there's probably a sweet spot on this garbage. But if you notice, if I hold there in the middle, it doesn't do anything. Gotta be a sweet spot. Well, I feel like we're getting to that sweet spot a little bit. Let's get our wire properly around here. Let's first wind as much wire as we can on here, huh? That's terrible. Have I damaged it so that it's not spinning properly, or is it just that it's kind of old, or maybe it's overwound? I'm not really sure. Certainly, this is not an uncommon problem. It happens with most old vacuum cleaners that in my experience. But I think there's probably a sweet spot on this coil And I probably went past it. And it seems like we're starting to get to it now. So I'm going to unwind this just a little bit. And see if I can catch that sweet spot. Come on. It's a little better. Alright, maybe we're good enough now that I can go ahead and wind this back on. Rather, put this back on. Still seems to need that convincing. Come on. It still works. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking the camera around and everything. Oh no, don't you move. Don't you move. You're right there. Alright, now we're talking. It seems like it's going to go back on. I feel like maybe the top part is not quite lined up. Ah, so close. Certainly, if it's not in the right position, it doesn't want to wind or close. Oh, it's so annoying. What's the deal here? What's not quite matching up? Press the button. Doesn't want to spin yet. Is it just me, or is this a garbage system? It might just be me. Alright. How is this thing not going on? Looks like maybe there's a lip here that's not quite getting put where it needs to be, perhaps. Okay, that's looking better. Oh yeah, that's feeding wire properly now, more or less. Come on. There we go. There we go. Alright, maybe it just needs a little bit of working back and forth. But we're mostly there, and we're mostly to the point that not much more wire was going to fit inside anyway. Which is also good, because then it allows us to actually leave a little bit of extra so our wire doesn't our plug doesn't accidentally get shoved up in there, because while it does look like this plug is a little bit too big to actually fit down in there, I've known of plugs to go down inside of the windy area, and I don't want that to happen. So I think this is probably a decent amount of retraction for this particular vacuum cleaner, which when I look inside is still it's rather lame. It looks like there's still room for more wire, but it doesn't really want to go in. I don't know of a better system for getting the wire to retract, but I do know that this is not the best system, at least by my opinion. It might be the best system available to us. Maybe someone somewhere can devise a better system, and even though I hate patents, go ahead and patent that, and you'll be rich. Alright, I'm missing a screw, but I'll find it later, because I think all these screws are the same. And I'm happy enough with the way this is now together that I'm not going to bother with it right now. This has already become a 30-minute video, and it's just 30 minutes of me fighting with the garbage that is the retraction system on a Dyson DC22. Okay, that should be everything screwed together as far as this wheel is concerned. I know that we have this tiny little piece that goes inside here, and let's see if we can get that replaced before we start dealing with other things, like for example the wheel. I know the wheel can probably go on in the hub as well with no trouble, but I would like to get that little piece put back on first, and here it is. So let's see. Again, I don't really know what this piece is for. I think it's just to provide a place where the air can flow without being obstructed ever. But I don't know if it actually works the way they hoped it would. It doesn't seem like it does to me. Alright, I think that's pretty much in there. Let me just give a little pressure, pressing it down to make sure that everything that looks like it's got little clamps is clamped on there. I think that's okay. Now, I didn't forget some screws, did I? This seems a little loose. This bit here, it seems a little loose. But that's where it vacuum, I think, seals down. So maybe it's okay. Let's look at the parts that we have left and try to figure out where they go, and then we'll know. First of all, we have this hub. Let's go ahead and get that back on there. So it goes in about like this. If we have to take it off again, so be it. Alright, I think it's just going to depress. Cut these plastic tabs. As long as they're lined up, it should go on right. Just thinking a slow press might do it without breaking it, but this is why it was so hard to get off. You can't get it back on either. There's a part. There's another. Oh, good lord. Okay. That's all four of them. Seems to spin as well as it probably ever did. Alright. Where are we now? Where did this thing come from? I don't remember exactly, but it's still got it screwed down in there, so we're cool on leaving that as it is for now. Okay, so it looks like maybe 1, 2, 3 pieces are pretty much. Oh no! Forgot about this big boy and this little guy. This, however, is it's got like easily to remove things that goes on last, I'm pretty sure. This thing, oh man, maybe I should watch the video from yesterday. What's that sound? It just fell out, whatever it was. Was it a screw? That might have been the screw I was looking for. Where'd it go? Alright, I'll find that in a minute. I think that might have been the missing screw that I was looking for, that I replaced with another screw. It doesn't seem to be making any noise, so my guess is that was it and it fell out. Should be a big black screw, easy to find, but I'm not seeing it. Alright, let's see here. So this tube has to go on as well. And this tube goes in here, of course. And this thing goes... Where does this go? I really don't remember where this goes. Was it something like that? Maybe not. Let's look at some other pieces real quick and just see what we can figure out. Dump those screws there. This definitely goes in the bottom, right? Like this. Okay, so let's say that's there. Now, what are we missing, and where might it attach? That doesn't go anywhere there. Now this thing, I'm pretty sure goes in the back. I think both of these things here go on the back. This thing here goes around here somewhere. Something somewhat like that. Like that. If you can see that. It seems alright. And this goes here, pretty sure. Right? I mean, that seems like a complete construction there. And then the this thing here is gonna somehow attach inside of here. And where does that thing go? Does that go on the back or the side or the front? Does it go inside here? It might. You know what? I think it goes. Let's take this off. How does that come off? I forgot. Oops. That's okay. This goes somewhat. This comes off. I think this goes in here. Yeah, that's definitely where that goes. Alright. That goes in there. Now there's a screw that's still in here, in this area. Let's just screw that down real quick because I'm sure this goes here, just as it is. Well, if I can find that screw. There we go. Is that already screwed? Seriously? Impossible. Let's just back it out real quick. Alright, and screw it back down on there. Alright, that's gotta be... Yeah, that seems like it's secured. Okay, now... any other missing pieces? If we can, let's go ahead and get these back pieces on. Since we can get them out of the way that way. This thing went on somewhat like this. Yep, like that. And this thing I think goes on like this. Yep, like that. This thing screws in here, if you can see. There we go. Alright, that's on. And this thing screws in here. There, right there. Let's go get that on there. Alright. Seems like we're all connected up there. Now, on the bottom is our next challenge. And basically, we just want to take this back off because it's a little premature, to be honest. We just wanted to make sure things fit. Alright, just in case there's some screw holes, and I think there's at least one. It's under there. And let's get these screws back on. Let's get the top first, just because the top seems like it has a way that it kind of fits a little bit flush. Let's do that first. Alright, it goes here. Alright, we're looking at 40 minutes on this video now, and that's longer than I like to do. Especially my camera's going to cut off if I go much longer. So, we're going to end here as soon as I get this last screw in. And then in the next episode, we will finish up by placing the end on our cord and cutting it to length and giving it a little test to make sure that it works. So for now, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry this episode was longer than expected. I'm sorry this whole project turned out to be longer than expected. It really wasn't that long. But, I mean, I should have been able to do this faster, but when trying to make videos for things, then things just take longer. And I talk a lot when I could just be working more. Alright. That looks pretty good. I'll find something to tighten that better. And just